I was on a night shift when my wife and my brother were brought in unconscious. I rushed toward them, but a doctor stopped me. You can't see them yet. Trembling, I asked, why? He lowered his eyes and said, the police will explain when they arrive. My name is David Grant, and I learned my wife was trying to end my life at exactly 11:47 p.m. on a Tuesday in front of the entire emergency department where I'd worked for 6 years. The trauma bay doors slammed open mid-shift, standard chaos. 2 paramedics wheeling in gurneys, shouting about possible carbon monoxide poisoning, vitals crashing, altered mental status. I looked up from the chart I was updating. A 16-year-old with a skateboard injury, nothing serious, and my entire world stopped. First gurney, my wife Rachel, gray-faced, lips tinged blue, oxygen mask fogging weakly. Second gurney, my brother Tommy, barely conscious, eyes rolling back, IV already running. I dropped the chart. It clattered to the floor. My feet moved before my brain caught up. Rachel. My hands reached for her gurney, for her face, for anything. What happened? Rachel, can you hear me? Dr. Marcus Hale caught my arm, hard. His grip was iron. David, stop. That's my wife. That's my brother. My voice cracked. Several nurses turned to stare. Let me. You can't treat them. His face was tight, controlled. The expression he wore when he was about to tell a family someone had died. Not yet. What do you mean I can't? Please. He pulled me back, away from the trauma bays, into the hallway where the fluorescent lights buzzed and hummed. The police are on their way. You need to wait. Police. The word hit like a fist to the chest. Why are the police coming? My hands were shaking. I shoved them in my pockets. Marcus, what the hell is going on? He wouldn't meet my eyes, just kept glancing back at the trauma bay where my wife and brother were being worked on by my colleagues. Sarah Chen was starting a second IV on Rachel. Mike Torres was intubating Tommy. I can't tell you, Marcus said quietly. Not yet. Can't or won't. Both. Through the glass partition, I watched the organized chaos I'd participated in 1,000 times. But this time, something was different. Security was stationed by the doors. 2 officers I recognized from previous assault cases, Officer Janet Willis and Officer Derek Shaw, standing guard like they were protecting evidence, not patients, evidence. And then I saw it. Rachel's hands, Tommy's hands, both bagged in paper evidence bags, sealed at the wrists with red tape. My knees went weak. Marcus, I whispered, why are their hands bagged? He finally looked at me. His eyes were full of something I had never seen directed at me before. Pity. I'm so sorry, David. I'd been an ER doctor for 6 years. Before that, 4 years of residency at OHSU in Portland. Before that, medical school at Stanford. I'd seen everything. Overdoses, stabbings, child abuse, domestic violence, car accidents that turned families into statistics. But I'd never been on this side of it. Never been the one waiting in the hallway while someone else worked on my family. Never been the one asking questions no one would answer. Rachel and I had been married for 4 years, together for 7. We'd met at a hospital fundraiser. She was working in pharmaceutical sales. I was a second-year resident surviving on caffeine and spite. She'd made me laugh, made me feel human again after 16-hour shifts, made me remember there was a world outside trauma bays and code blues. Tommy was my younger brother by 3 years, an accountant, married to his job, lived alone in a condo downtown. We had dinner every Sunday at my place. Rachel always cooked his favorite, lasagna with the fancy Italian sausage from the market on Hawthorne. Last Sunday, 5 days ago, had been normal. Tommy had brought wine. Rachel had made tiramisu. We'd watched football and argued about whether the Blazers had any chance this season. Normal. Everything had been normal. Except Rachel had been unusually affectionate lately, more attentive, making my favorite meals, asking about my day with genuine interest instead of half listening while scrolling through her phone. 3 weeks ago, she'd been especially sweet. Brought me lunch at the hospital, kissed me in front of my colleagues, asked me to sign some paperwork she said was for our mortgage refinance. Just household stuff, she'd said, handing me a pen. I already read through it. You know how boring this stuff is. I'd signed without reading because I trusted her, because that's what you do when you love someone. The trauma bay door opened. Sarah Chen came out, stripping off her gloves. She saw me and hesitated. Sarah, I said, please. I can't, David. I'm sorry. She looked genuinely distressed. Dr. Hale's orders. Just tell me if they're stable. She glanced back at Marcus, who nodded once. Rachel's blood pressure is low, but responding to fluids. We're running a full tox screen. Tommy's more critical. We had to intubate. His oxygen saturation was in the 70s when they brought him in. Carbon monoxide? My mind was racing through differentials, treatment protocols, anything to make sense of this. Did the paramedics give carboxyhemoglobin levels? David. Sarah's voice was gentle, pitying. The detectives will explain everything. Just wait, okay? She squeezed my shoulder and went back inside. I stood there in the hallway, watching through the glass as my colleagues worked on my family. The clock on the wall said 11:53 p.m., 6 minutes since they'd arrived. It felt like hours. My phone buzzed. A text from Rachel sent 3 hours ago at 8:47 p.m. Making your favorite tonight? Pot roast? See you when your shift ends? Love you? I'd been scheduled to work until 7 a.m., a 12-hour shift. Rachel knew my schedule by heart. The doors to the ER entrance opened. 2 people in suits walked in with the deliberate stride of law enforcement. A woman in her 40s with sharp eyes and hair pulled back in a severe bun. A man in his 50s, built like a linebacker, janitor, with a wedding ring and tired eyes. They flashed badges at the triage nurse, headed straight for Marcus. He pointed at me. "Dr. Grant?" the woman said, extending her hand. "I'm Detective Linda Park, Portland PD. This is my partner, Detective James Rodriguez. We need to talk about what happened tonight. Tell me what happened to them." My voice sounded strange, too calm, like I was asking about a patient. "Please." Park and Rodriguez exchanged glances. Some silent communication passed between them. "Is there somewhere private we can talk?" Rodriguez asked. Marcus led us to the family consultation room, the room where we told people their loved ones had died. Small, windowless, a box of tissues on the table that I'd handed to countless grieving families. I sat down. My hands were still shaking. Park sat across from me. Rodriguez remained standing, taking notes. "Dr. Grant," Park began, "at approximately 10:23 p.m. tonight we responded to a 911 call from your residence at 847 Maple Street. The call came from your brother, Thomas Grant. He managed to say 2 words before losing consciousness." She paused, watching my reaction. "What words?" I asked. "Rachel poisoned." The room tilted. I gripped the edge of the table. "That's not— Rachel wouldn't— We found evidence at the scene that supports his claim," Park continued, her voice professional but not unkind. "A portable gas generator in your kitchen, running. Your home is all electric, correct?" "Yes." My mouth was dry. "We don't have gas anything. Rachel's terrified of gas stoves. Her grandmother died in a gas leak when she was a kid." Park and Rodriguez exchanged another look. "The generator was hidden in the pantry," Rodriguez said. "Door closed, venting carbon monoxide into the house. Your security system shows it was brought into the house at 7:14 p.m. tonight by your wife." "No," I shook my head. "You're wrong. Rachel would never—" "We also recovered Mrs. Grant's phone from the scene," Park said, sliding a tablet across the table. "These are screenshots of her search history from earlier today." I looked at the screen. 3:47 p.m. Carbon monoxide poisoning symptoms. 4:12 p.m. How long does CO take to kill? 4:33 p.m. Carbon monoxide generator rental. 5:08 p.m. Life insurance payout for accidental death. 5:22 p.m. Untraceable poisons. My vision blurred. The words swam. "There's more," Park said quietly. "We found documentation in your home office. Life insurance policies, 2 of them, both taken out 3 weeks ago through your wife's employer benefits." Rodriguez pulled out papers and plastic evidence bags, set them on the table. Life insurance policy, insured, David Allen Grant. Beneficiary, Rachel Marie. Grant amount, $2,000 life insurance policy. Insured, Thomas James Grant. Beneficiary, Rachel Marie. Grant amount, $500,000. "I never signed these," I said, but even as I said it, I remembered. 3 weeks ago, Rachel with her stack of household papers. The mortgage refinance that wasn't a mortgage refinance. "Your signature is on both," Park said, "and your brother's." "Tommy would never—" I stopped. "Sunday dinners. Rachel always making his favorite food. Rachel pouring his wine. Rachel asking him to just sign this real quick family emergency fund stuff. Tommy trusted her too." Jesus Christ. I put my head in my hands. "She planned this. We believe your wife intended to kill both you and your brother tonight," Park said. "The generator would have filled your house with carbon monoxide while you were at work. Your brother had dinner at your house tonight, correct? Every Tuesday?" My voice cracked. "Rachel always invites him for Tuesday dinners when I work nights. Says she doesn't like eating alone. The medical examiner estimates another 30 minutes of exposure would have been fatal," Rodriguez said. "Your brother saved his own life by calling 911, and probably saved your wife's life too, though that wasn't his intention." "Wait," I looked up. "Rachel was poisoned too?" "She was in the house with the generator running," Park said. "But based on the timeline and her position when we found her, in the bedroom with the door closed and a wet towel under the door, we believe she was attempting to protect herself while ensuring your brother died in the kitchen. I thought I was going to be sick. Your brother became suspicious when he started feeling dizzy," Rodriguez continued. "He confronted your wife. She told him he was probably coming down with the flu, but he noticed the generator noise, went looking for the source, found it in the pantry. That's when he called 911. Park pulled out another evidence bag, this one containing a cell phone, Rachel's rose gold iPhone with the cracked screen protector she'd been meaning to replace. "We have text messages between your wife and an unknown number," Park said, discussing the plan, discussing the payout, discussing what she'd do with the money. She showed me the texts. I read them. Each one felt like a knife. Unknown. "You sure about this?" "Rachel, it's the only way. He'll never leave me, and I'm not starting over with nothing." Unknown. "What about his brother?" "Rachel, loose end. He'll figure it out eventually. Better to handle both at once." Unknown. 2. $5 million is a lot of money, baby. "Rachel, we can disappear. Mexico. New lives. Together." "Who's the unknown number?" I asked. "We're working on that," Park said, "but we have reason to believe your wife has been involved in an extramarital affair for approximately 6 months. 6 months? Half a year? While I'd been working 60-hour weeks, saving lives, coming home exhausted to her smiles and kisses and poisoned pot roast. I need to see them," I said. "Rachel and Tommy, I need—" "Your brother is asking for you," Rodriguez said. "He's been in and out of consciousness, but he's been asking for you." I stood up, walked to the door, stopped. "What happens to Rachel?" "She's under arrest the moment she's medically stable," Park said. "Attempted murder, 2 counts, plus fraud, conspiracy, and anything else the DA can make stick. I nodded, walked out of the consultation room on legs that didn't feel like mine. Tommy was in trauma bay too, still intubated. His eyes were open now, foggy with sedation but aware. When he saw me, tears leaked from the corners. I grabbed his hand. Hey, little brother. He squeezed back, weak, but there. You saved your own life, I told him, and you probably saved mine too. I was supposed to be home by 8 a.m. If you hadn't called 911, he squeezed again, harder this time. Sarah Chen was monitoring his vitals. We're going to keep him intubated for a few more hours, she said softly. Standard protocol for CO poisoning this severe, but his levels are dropping. He's going to be okay. Thank you, I said. She squeezed my shoulder again and left us alone. I stood there holding Tommy's hand, watching his oxygen levels climb slowly back to normal, and I thought about all the Sunday dinners, all the times Rachel had smiled at him, poured his wine, made his favorite foods, gotten him to sign papers for a family emergency fund that was actually a life insurance policy with her as the beneficiary. She'd been planning to kill him for 3 weeks, planning to kill me for money, for some guy whose number wasn't even saved in her phone, for a new life in Mexico. At 12:17 a.m., Detective Park appeared in the doorway. Dr. Grant, your wife is awake. She's asking for you. I looked at Tommy. He was watching me, his eyes alert despite the sedation. He nodded once. I followed Park to Trauma Bay 1. Rachel was sitting up, oxygen mask on her face, eyes wide and confused. When she saw me, relief flooded her features. David! Her voice was muffled by the mask. She pulled it down. Oh my God, David! Someone broke into the house. They attacked us. Where's Tommy? Is he... Mrs. Grant, Detective Park said, stepping into the bay. Her badge was visible on her belt now. I'm Detective Linda Park, Portland Police Department. You're under arrest for 2 counts of attempted murder. Rachel's face went white. What? No, you don't understand. You have the right to remain silent, Park began. David. Rachel turned to me, her eyes desperate. Tell them I would never... I saw the search history on your phone, I said quietly. The texts, the insurance policies. Her face changed. Panic cracked through like ice breaking. That's not... Those were... You tried to kill me. My voice was steady, calm, the same tone I used when delivering bad news to families. And my brother. No! She thrashed against the bed rails, trying to reach me. I love you. Why would I hurt you? Rodriguez appeared with handcuffs. Mrs. Grant, you need to calm down. The generator in the pantry, I continued. The one you brought into our house at 7:14 p.m. The one you hid while Tommy was eating the lasagna you made, while he was drinking the wine you poured. Rachel's eyes darted around the trauma bay, at the nurses watching, at Sarah Chen standing frozen by the supply cart, at Mike Torres in the doorway with his mouth open, at Marcus Hale observing everything with his arms crossed, the entire ER staff, people I worked with every day, people Rachel had smiled at during hospital Christmas parties and summer BBQs, people she'd chatted with about vacation plans and recipes, all of them staring at her. This is a misunderstanding, she said, her voice rising. David, please, you know me. You know I would never... I know you took out life insurance policies on me and my brother without telling us, I said. I know you've been planning this for 3 weeks. I know you've been having an affair. Her face crumpled. The mask dropped. No more desperate wife, just cold calculation. You weren't supposed to find out, she whispered. The trauma bay went silent. Everyone heard it. The admission. Park pulled out the handcuffs. Rachel Marie Grant, you're under arrest for the attempted murder of David Allen Grant and Thomas James Grant. He was never home. Rachel's voice cracked, turning shrill. Always working, always tired. I was lonely. She was crying now, mascara running down her face, but her eyes were angry, furious at being caught. So you decided to kill him? Park asked. And his brother? I deserve better, Rachel shouted. I deserved someone who was actually there, someone who paid attention to me, someone who would help you commit murder for insurance money, Rodriguez suggested. Rachel's mouth snapped shut. Park cuffed her to the bed rail. Rachel fought it, twisting and pulling, but Rodriguez helped secure her. You can't do this, Rachel was screaming now. I have rights. I want a lawyer. You'll get one, Park said calmly. At the station, after you're medically cleared. David, Rachel turned her tear-stained face to me. David, please, don't let them do this. I made a mistake. We can fix this. We can go to therapy. Please. I looked at her, really looked at her, at this woman I'd married, trusted, loved, built a life with, this stranger who'd tried to murder me. I trusted you, I said quietly. She went still. Something in my voice stopped her. I signed those papers because I trusted you. Tommy came to dinner every week because he trusted you. We both trusted you, and you were planning to kill us. I didn't want to, she whispered, but I couldn't divorce you. I'd get nothing. The prenup my father insisted on before we got married, I said. The one you said didn't matter because we'd be together forever. She looked away. From the next trauma bay, I heard Tommy's ventilator alarm beep. Sarah rushed in. My brother was trying to sit up, trying to speak around the tube. I need to check. On Tommy, I said to Park. Of course. I walked out, left Rachel handcuffed to the bed, surrounded by police and the people who'd just watched her perfect mask shatter. Tommy was calm when I got to him. Sarah had sedated him again, but his eyes were clear, aware. He'd heard everything. She's going to prison, I told him, for a long time. He squeezed my hand. The rest of the night was a blur of statements and paperwork and evidence collection. They kept Rachel in the trauma bay under guard until she was medically stable, around 4. 30 6:47 a.m. Then they transported her to the county jail in an ambulance, still in handcuffs, still screaming about lawyers and mistakes, and how she never meant for things to go this far. The ER staff was silent, professional, but I caught them looking at me, pitying me. The doctor whose wife tried to kill him. The guy who'd signed his own death warrant because he trusted the wrong person. At 5:15 a.m., Marcus found me in the break room. I was staring at a cup of coffee I hadn't drunk, watching it go cold. "You should go home," he said. "Can't. Still have 2 hours left on my shift." "David, my house is a crime scene anyway," I said. "Yellow tape, evidence markers, blood draws, and fingerprint dust. I can't go home. Stay with me and Jennifer tonight," Marcus offered. "We have a guest room." "Maybe." He sat down next to me. We'd been friends since residency. He'd been at my wedding, had toasted to Rachel and me at the reception, made some joke about how I'd finally found someone patient enough to deal with my obsessive charting habits. "Did you know?" I asked. "Before tonight? Did anyone suspect?" "No." He sounded exhausted. "She was good, David. Really good. Everyone liked her. She tried to kill me for $2.5 million. I know. And my brother. I know." We sat in silence for a while. The break room coffee maker gurgled. Someone's phone buzzed in a locker. Normal sounds. Everything was normal except nothing was normal anymore. At 6:47 a.m., Detective Park came back. "Thought you'd want an update," she said. "We identified the unknown number from your wife's texts. It's registered to a Grant Mitchell, age 34, pharmaceutical sales rep. Works for the same company as your wife." "Of course he does," I said. "We're bringing him in for questioning. Based on the texts, he was aware of and complicit in the plan. He's looking at conspiracy charges minimum." "Good. Your wife is being arraigned this afternoon. The DA's office is pushing for no bail given the severity and premeditation. But her lawyer, she got Andrew Chen. He's good. We'll probably argue for house arrest." "She doesn't have a house," I said. "It's in my name. The prenup." Park almost smiled. "Then jail it is." She left. I finished my shift, saw patients, sutured lacerations, ordered x-rays, admitted a guy with pneumonia, discharged a kid with a sprained ankle, did my job. At 7:03 a.m., I clocked out. Tommy was being transferred to the ICU for observation. He'd be intubated for another 12 hours, then evaluated for extubation. His CO levels were dropping steadily. He'd make a full recovery. I went to see him before I left. He was sedated but stable, surrounded by machines that beeped and hummed in the familiar rhythm of healing. "You're going to be okay," I told him, "and she's never touching you again." His oxygen saturation was 98%, heart rate steady, blood pressure normal, alive. I drove to Marcus and Jennifer's house in the early morning light. Portland was waking up, people on their way to work, coffee shops opening, joggers in the park, normal life for them. The trial was 4 months later, February 2024. Rachel pleaded not guilty. Her lawyer tried to argue temporary insanity, coercion, diminished capacity, anything to avoid the truth that she'd coldly, methodically planned to murder her husband and brother-in-law for money. The prosecution had everything. The search history, the texts with Grant Mitchell, the insurance policies, the security footage showing Rachel bringing the generator into the house. Tommy's 911 call where he managed to say, "Rachel poisoned before collapsing," and they had me, Dr. David Grant, ER physician, explaining in clear clinical detail what carbon monoxide does to the human body, how it binds to hemoglobin 200 times more readily than oxygen, how it causes hypoxia, cell death, organ failure, how 30 more minutes of exposure would have killed my brother, would have killed me when I came home from my shift. The jury deliberated for 3 hours. Guilty on both counts of attempted murder, guilty on fraud, guilty on conspiracy. Grant Mitchell got 12 years. Rachel got 25. I was there when they read the verdict. So was Tommy, fully recovered, sitting next to me in the courtroom. We watched Rachel's face as the judge explained she'd be eligible for parole in 15 years. She looked at me once, just once. Her eyes were empty. They led her away in handcuffs, the same handcuffs Park had used in the trauma bay 6 months ago. Outside the courthouse, reporters crowded around us. "Dr. Grant, how does it feel to know your wife tried to kill you?" Tommy put his arm around my shoulders. "Let's go." We walked to my car, not the house on Maple Street. I'd sold that immediately, and drove to a bar downtown, ordered whiskey, sat in silence. "Thanks for working that night," Tommy finally said. I looked at him. "What? If you'd been home, if you hadn't been working?" He didn't finish. "Yeah, we drank. Didn't talk about Rachel or the trial, or the fact that we'd both almost died because someone we trusted had decided we were worth more dead than alive. Eventually I went home. A new apartment downtown, lease in my name only, locks that only I had keys to. I went back to work the next week. Same ER. Same colleagues who'd watched my wife get arrested in Trauma Bay 1. They didn't treat me differently, didn't pity me, just worked alongside me like always, because that's what we do. We show up, we do the job, we save lives, even when our own almost ended. My name is David Grant. I learned my wife was trying to kill me at 11:47 p.m. on a Tuesday in front of the entire emergency department where I'd worked for 6 years. She said no one would believe she could do something like that, but everyone saw it, and that, in the end, made all the difference.